Today we're going to do some color analysis and then move into mixing the initial mid-value flesh tone. And then after that I'll do a little time-lapse painting of her nose. Okay, we're going to do some color analysis now. You can see the color of the area that I'm on top of in the inside part of the gray circle. So that was a light value. I'm going to hit the B key and then place it here in the lights. Let's keep coming down. Let's get the tip of the nose. That's always a very light area. Now you can see here it's comparing this color to the last color that we checked. And this one's a little bit lighter, a little bit pinker. And there you go. Also, notice in the color box here to the upper right corner. Now what's happening is when I click the color picker, the little black circle is going to tell you where the color lies on this diagram. So this is telling me that it's a light color, it's pretty neutral, it's over here on the left side of the box, which is a more neutral side. If you come over here to the far right, it's more saturated. And you can see how you come across and then it gets completely desaturated. So it's pretty neutral there. Any color that's in the middle of this box is going to be on the more neutral side. So this is helpful. And then you can also see that the color family, the root color, is more of a warm red. And you can see that from where the arrow is here. You have cool red at the top and then warmer reds down here at the bottom. All right, let's get this light color here on the cheek. It's even lighter than the tip of the nose color was. We'll place that in our light area. So I'm going to fast forward through the rest of these values. We don't need to try to find every single value on our subject's face. We just need enough colors to get started because we're going to mix some initial piles on our palette, and as we're painting, more subsequent piles are going to get created that we will use to fill out her face. It's always understood that you're going to find that you need a color you didn't mix initially, and you just mix it on the fly. This is a great way to find your starting point colors. Now, something that we can do to check our values to make sure that we've put them in the right place is we can change our view to a black and white view. So I feel like that we've put the colors in the right spot. These 3 dots here could live in the dark value, but I think I'm just going to leave them in the mid values there. They're just a little bit, they're a bit darker than the majority of our mid values, but they're still in the mid value range. So there we go. And that is enough color to get us started and on our way. So now, time to mix our palette. These are the 7 oil paint colors that I'll be working with. This is a somewhat limited palette. I don't like to have too many colors on my palette when mixing initially. I've got the 2 yellows, the 2 reds, 1 blue, a dark brown, and a white. We're mixing our palette for Sarah, who has a dark skin color, and we've got our palette set up with titanium white, cad yellow, yellow ochre, cad red, transparent oxide brown, ultramarine blue, Van Dyke brown. I'm going to start with some mid values, and it looks like our mid values are fairly neutral, but a little bit on the peachy side. So let's get some of this yellow ochre. I'm going to make a pretty big pile of this because we're going to be splitting it into other piles and using it for other colors. Now I want to wipe off my palette knife in between dips into other colors so I don't contaminate the other color. This red's pretty powerful, so I'm not going to take much more than that dot amount. So you can see it there. Okay, this is
way too warm for the skin colors that we're using here. And it's kind of an orange hue. So how can we neutralize orange? We can think about the color wheel, and we know blue is on the opposite side, so it's the complementary color to orange. So we're going to grab a tad of our blue. We'll start with this amount. Now, when I'm working a pretty strong color like this into the orange, I want to start on the edge of the color and just work a little bit to the side here until I see what we've got. That seems to be working. Still a little bit on the gray side, so I'm going to pull the rest of that orange into it. And I also feel like we need to add a little bit more red. It's still too yellow. So that's what you want to do. You want to ask yourself when you're mixing colors, if you're seeing a color in your palette and it's still not the color you want, you ask yourself, does it need more red? Does it need more yellow? Or does it need more blue? I'm thinking it needs more red. It just seems a little too yellow and a little too neutral. So dip back into our red. I've got about that much on my palette knife. That's definitely taking us in the direction we need. Okay, that was looking pretty good when we first added it, so I think we need to add more. So if I ask myself, do I need more yellow? Do I need more blue? Do I need more red? I believe we need more red. So let's wipe off our palette knife. Let's clean as I dip into the red. Here we go. So we're looking to get this initial pile close to one of the mid values that we can make variations from. So now we're a little orange again. So we're going to add more blue. I'm trying to go more towards a purpley neutral. A purple comes from red and blue, so we want to pump up the red and blue into this mixture. So there's some blue. It's ultramarine blue. So I think what we're going to do is just keep pumping up the reds and the blue until this gets to be the kind of mauve-y purple skin color that we're looking for. So definitely doesn't need more yellow. Still a scotch orange. I think I would have like to go back into the red at this point. Probably going to need to add more blue as well, but we'll just do it a little at a time. So there's my red. Yep, that's what we need. So I'm going to mix it. I just test it in the edge there, and then I mix it into the whole pile once I feel certain that it's taking me in the right direction. So that way I don't contaminate the entire pile all at once. So mixing this initial middle value flesh tone for dark skin is what we're doing. And then we're going to build our other piles off of this pile. So we want to have enough paint in this pile to do that. So that's the other thing. We're making sure we got a nice, large initial pile. Okay. So I definitely don't want to add more yellow, and it's looking pretty red, and we want to take it to the purplish mauve range. So I think we need to go into the blue again, which is what I thought was going to happen. So no surprise there. All right, I'm putting this much blue. I have to smooth it out flat to really see it good. I'm gonna go through that little red-blue sequence again. So here's some more red. And we started out with that yellow ochre. And that is such a powerful yellow. It really will take over your pile. But we needed a lot to start because we wanted a big pile, so that's okay. I'll rather work my way up to where I need to be slowly and have a lot of paint for this initial pile. So that's all good. I'm gonna dip back into the blue. And go towards that purple mauve. And that's how we'll get there, because like I said, purple comes from red and blue. Now, if you had purple on your palette, which sometimes I do, but I wanted to keep the palette limited so that you could see how we get there this way. But if you had purple on your palette, you could just be adding that directly into your pile instead of the red-blue sequence. So that's why sometimes it's nice to have these convenience colors, because then you can mix more quickly. No more yellow. I think I want to go through the red-blue sequence again. It's getting close. It's getting very close. So there's some red. And our pile's getting more saturated too, so we'll have to look into toning that down here in a minute. I'm going in for my blue. Tad of blue, that much. And the other thing you could do is you could just mix a purple from the red and blue on your palette. That's another way to go at it. There's always more than one way to skin a cat, right? Okay, do we need more blue? Do we need more yellow? Do we need more red? I think it's looking pretty good. What I want to do now, add a little bit of white. So since I have a clean palette knife, put that there. And we're going to bring some of this mixture over to the white. Just work our way into it from the side here, from the edge. So I can really see the color notes when I start to lighten it up a little bit better. Okay, do I need to add more yellow? Do I need to add more red? Do I need to add more blue? I definitely don't need to add more yellow, because that would take it to the orange direction. That's the direction we're running away from. So I want to add more blue. I feel there's enough red there at the moment. So right into the edge here. And yeah, that's what we need. We need more blue. So I like the color that I've got here. So let me wipe off my palette knife, grab a touch more blue. So I've got my image up on my computer screen, and it's right here next to my palette. So when I get a color that I think is correct, I get a little smooth amount on my palette knife like this, and then I hold it up to the colors and I see where I'm at, and I hold it up to her face, and I can see this is a nice transitional color. It's a darker mid value, so it looks like it would be useful in the areas where it's just moving into the shadow for her. So let's leave that. That could be helpful for us. So I'm gonna take a little bit more off of that pile, and I wanna make a lighter version of it. So I'm squinting. I think that's working for me. The darks are definitely dark enough. These mid values look good. These are light enough. All right, so there we have it. Our light values, our mid values, and our dark values for our dark skin portrait of Sarah.